Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newcastle City Council regular meeting for November 4th, 2025. I'm Mayor Clark presiding. The time is actually 7, despite what the clock says. Tonight's meeting is being broadcast on our YouTube channel. It is also being recorded for future viewing. Just a reminder, there are four sign-up sheets for comment. There are 2 public hearings and 2 regular public comments. Please rise and join us in the flag salute. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Burford.
Here.
Councilmember Sherlock.
Here.
Councilmember Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Quigg.
Here.
Councilmember Charbonneau.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lacotia. Here. And Mayor Clark.
Here. Thank you, City Clerk. Next up is agenda approval. Are there any desired additions or changes to tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, show the agenda approved as written. Next up is public comment. City Clerk, do we have any takers for public comment? Okay, for public comment, we'll call you up to the podium. When you come up, please state your name and neighborhood. You'll have 3 minutes to say what you'd like. When the buzzer sounds, we ask you to wrap it up. So, one sign up tonight. Beth McDaniel, come on up.
Good evening, Council. I'm Mayor Clark. I just wanted to stop by for a couple minutes. Please pardon my exit after. It's my husband's birthday, so my family's going out to dinner. But I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to Mayor Clark for reaching out to Councilmember Sherlock to express your concern and over the mail that she recently received. It saddens me because that should not be something that you should, have go out of your way to commend and recognize, because that should just be common decency. And of course, I don't know what was said and what you said to Councilmember Sherlock, and it's none of my business. But I was disappointed and appalled that there was 3 members of the council that had not reached out to Commissioner Sherlock. It only takes 30 seconds to reply to an email or send an email and say, I'm sorry that happened to you. So I don't know why that happened. Sometimes, actually always, that human decency should prevail over politics. There's time to remove campaign signs from somebody's lawn, but there's not enough time to express, concern for a fellow council member. I know that this is not something that's unique to Newcastle. This is something we're facing, as a country. Yesterday I was doing some online research and I went on the White House website. If you've been on there, maybe you haven't been on there lately, but there's a ticker on the page of the front page of the website that says, so and so, to the second of the shutdown, so many minutes, seconds that the Democrats have shut down the government. So just this we versus them mentality, and I really hope that that'll change. On Saturday, I'm a precinct officer, and so I was out, knocking on doors, and there was a neighbor's house on my list, and I'd never met, even though we probably lived to each other for almost 20 years. I thought twice about knocking, but I went ahead and did so, and I was queried about my political affiliation. And I was told that I needed to come back to the truth. Derogatory comments were made about the LGBTQ community, et cetera. But I told this neighbor, I think even though we disagree politically, we can still be good neighbors. And I truly believe that with all my heart. And I don't hope, I think after the election tonight, the council will probably take a new direction, and I'm hopeful for that. Because I think we need to come back to being civil towards each other and being good neighbors. And again, Mayor Clark, thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Anybody online, City Clerk? Okay, that concludes the first public comment. There is a sign-up sheet for the second one later in the meeting. There are no ceremonial presentations. Next up, council comment. Councilmember Burford, why don't you start us out?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. And actually, I'd like to say tonight is election night. Happy election night. So I was going to move the motion about for any future council meetings, let's reschedule so we can encourage civic engagement. I'm sure it will happen in our city. And also, I just want to once again give my heartfelt thank you to our police chief, Chief Hajihiro, for his dedication to our city and to our community. Also welcome our new chief tonight, and thank you for joining us. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Charbonneau?
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all the really hardworking people at King County Elections, literally outside City Hall right now, still collecting ballots. I met a couple residents that are actually doing phone lines for King County Elections too, and that's really, really important work. So thank all the folks for doing that. Really great to see all the kids out and about for Halloween and also at Boot Castle and different Halloween events here in Newcastle. And then, wishing Chief Kajihiro a lot of Mariners games and Hurricane popcorn in his future, and welcome to Chief Mandela.
Councilmember Quick?
Chief Mandela, welcome to Newcastle. Good to see you back there with Amber, Len, Larry, Kathy, Lynn, Cheryl, Louise, Jen, Karen, Chris. People are rolling in here. It's always an all-hands-on-deck affair here at the city council meeting, so welcome to Newcastle. It's going to be good times for you. Again, I agree with Son. Thanks to Chief Kaji for all he did, and we're looking forward to meeting you. You got big shoes to fill, my friend. It's not just about law enforcement. All of the community outreach, all of the kids are going to know your face, and we're just thrilled to have you. This is a tight-knit community. Everybody knows everybody, man. And so I'm just thrilled to have you as part of the Newcastle family. It really is a family. I know 90% of the people in this room right now, except for that Phil. I'm going to meet him in about an hour or so. But I just want to say thank you for coming to Newcastle. And yeah, it's going to be fun times. Thank you.
Councilmember Griffin?
Thank you, Mayor Clark. I want to welcome everybody here this evening. It's great to see you out there. Other than that, I have no comment to make.
Councilmember Sherlock?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just echo welcome, Chief Mandela. And thanks again to Chief Kajihiro. If you're listening, we will miss you, but we are happy for Chief Kajihiro, for him to have a nice retirement. So he's earned it. Thanks.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. I would also like to welcome our new chief. Welcome to the city, and thank you to Chief Kajihiro. I know the new chief will continue to keep our city safe, just like Kajihiro did. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. As mayor, I only have a couple things. It's Veterans Day next Tuesday, 1 week from today, so please come out and join us at the flagpole at 8 a.m. I know it's early, I apologize, but I have other things during the day that kind of take up my time. So I would appreciate if you all come out. We'll have a nice service, rain or shine. There's a lot of Veterans Day activities going around the area. I know the Regency right over here is putting on a pancake breakfast for veterans and first responders. So there's that. There's the Veterans Day Parade in Auburn on Saturday, with the largest one west of the Mississippi. So that's always a good show and an event to attend. And other events around. So keep your eyes open and peeled and join. And also, Tahoma National Cemetery does a really good job of decorating for the Veterans Day. That's all I had for the mayor. Up to council committees. Finance Committee?
We have Finance Committee. The Finance Committee met on October the 29th, and Maria Lindberg brought the snapshot and the investment report for the 9 months of this year. We're pretty close to exactly right on the budget, so that's where we need to be. So the city's looking pretty good financially. The Finance Committee did approve a contract for the lobbyist for this coming year. And that's about what we did. Thank you.
Economic and Community Development?
We will be meeting tomorrow in the front room of City Hall.
Okay. Any regional committees? None? Okay. City manager, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. I have a few things. I do want to just briefly report on our storm response with the power outage this last weekend. As far as the public works crew and their response, they said it was fairly light as far as what they could take care of. A lot of the damage and downed, a lot of the debris and whatnot was directly related with downed wires, and they're required to stay away from those. But they were there to assist as needed. But we were, want to give a shout out to Amy George, who takes care of our communications. She was ready to respond very early on Sunday morning. She said that the best purchase was the small battery pack that we got after the bomb cyclone last year so that she could charge things at home and be able to do that. She was able, with the annex having power, she was able to utilize that space as well. The first public communication was posted on Sunday afternoon. Once information from PSC was received, morning and evening updates continued throughout the event until power was fully restored. The biggest ongoing communications challenge during the widespread power outage event remains setting expectations with the public about the level and timeliness of information the city receives from PSE. I thought that our representatives with PSE were much better with this event than they were with the bomb cyclone, as far as continually staying in touch with me. That didn't necessarily improve what they were telling me or getting more specifics, but they were at least more responsive, which was great. Just like any outage that is extended, we'll continue to try to learn about why it was extended and what PSE is doing to make improvements and continue to make it so that those aren't so impactful to customers. The other thing we heard the most about was Coal Creek Parkway being dark. And we received a few questions about that. Talking with Carrie Sullivan, our interim public works director, as well as Connor Simonson, our maintenance manager, about options for when power goes to at least keep flashing reds going so that they become more obvious four-way stops. We can enhance the battery packs that are on each, but we have, there's several of them, and we'd have to do each intersection. If we wanted to do something like that as far as enhancing the battery packs so that they would last through an extended outage, to do every light would be about $95,000. That's something that I'm happy to get out to council as far as additional information if that's something that we want to look at doing in the near future. There wasn't a lot of other great options as far as trying to put generators on the lights or do something that would keep power on. Most of that would just keep the batteries and the lights charged, and we'd have to kind of move them around to keep the lights on. And so happy to throw some information that I got from interim director Sullivan on that as far as those options. But there weren't great options as far as something that would work for every light other than enhancing the battery packs on the lights. Happy to take any questions on that if there are any.
Thank you. I was the one that was continuing to ask how much it would cost to do something, because I personally drove down Coal Creek a couple times, and it was really it was scary because having all those lights out. And I heard I put out a little email update, and that's what I heard back from several people was, why aren't those lights flashing? So I don't need to make a decision right now, but I definitely would urge the council to have this be a priority. I think it's public safety money well spent to be able to have safety during a power outage along Coal Creek. And I saw a couple, I don't know if there were accidents. I saw a couple cars off to the side that looked like they had been little fender benders, but nothing like significant that I heard of. But still, it was very nerve-wracking to drive down there, especially because it was this little pocket. So north, there were lights, and so then all of a sudden they were all out. And I think that kind of caught people off guard, and coming from the south as well.
Other questions for the city manager?
All right.
Yeah, it can't hurt to go get a number and bring some information back. And just as a complete off the subject, it was really dark out here right now in the ballot box, and I'm like, there's got to be a light out. And sure enough, there's a light out by the flagpole. So just to put that on your list if you could. It was very dark. Councilmember Burford, do you have a
Yeah,
question?
I have a question regarding the generator status. Can you update us?
Yes, so
Thank you.
something that we'll talk about during planning calendar is we usually cancel the second meeting in December, but we want to, whether it's on December 16th or some other date, we want to keep that meeting because we're getting ready to put that out to bid, and we can't, with the time frame, we can't have it ready for December 2nd. And so, but we don't want to wait until January to award that project. And so we want to do some kind of additional meeting in December if all we do is award that project. And so we can tackle that in planning calendar.
Thank you.
What else do you have, city manager?
In my last Friday update to the council, I attached an email from Sound Cities Association about 2 upcoming meetings that needs delegates. The first one is the 2025 annual meeting, and then the other one is on December 9th will be a board election and caucus meeting. Each one needs a delegate. It doesn't have to be the same for both, but it can be. Let me put it in front of me. The annual meeting will cover items including consideration of the 2026 SCA budget and dues, along with other annual business. The board elections and caucus will be a vote on elections to the 2026 SCA board. But we need to have somebody that's willing to go and can be the delegate for the city for each meeting.
Did anybody respond to your email? No? Anybody on this dais would like to be that delegate?
Yeah, I can look up, the email didn't have the time, but I think I can look it up.
So there's 2 separate meetings that you need. When do you
Two
need-
separate meetings.
When do you need an answer by?
We can bring it back to the next meeting if we need to. I need it by the end of November.
Okay, so Councilmember Charbonneau, you want?
Yeah, I need to check my calendar quite candidly. I've been the delegate for us in the past. The voting one isn't as critical because they always like hold it during a work day. So there was a time or two I missed it because I just had a work meeting, in the 9 to 5 window, and they said it was no big deal. The annual meeting though is definitely more of a bigger one. So I'll check my calendar for the annual meeting.
Yeah, okay. I attended the last meeting and also voted last time. Yeah, so if you need, I can attend 1 too. Because you say 2 meetings, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
2 separate.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so at next meeting, if anybody's interested, bring back, an interest and we'll talk about it. Okay? Anything else, city manager?
And the last thing, I just wanted to also welcome Chief Mandela. It's been a really fun experience for me to get to know him. Going through interviews, especially for something as big as police chief, is always a little bit nerve-wracking for me because I want to make a good decision. But it was really fun to go through that process, especially as we talked about Chief Mandela and his being the right one for us. And so I asked him to come tonight mostly so that he could start to get the vibe from all of us. But I also just wanted the council to see him and hear him, and if the mayor's willing, I'd love for him to just say hi to us. So.
Come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for the warm welcome. I'm happy to say to everybody that I haven't just had the warm welcome here. out in the community. Aegis Gardens, Safeway, Tapatio, I love it. I spent, to everybody, I appreciate the intro that you had put online last week. I've been with King County Sheriff's Office for going on 18 years now, spent the vast majority of that time in Burien. Loved what I was doing there. There's an obvious need for social services there. And so I helped kind of bring together some parties that might have seen the social need, the way to go about tackling the social need a little bit differently, but everyone wants kind of the same thing. I'm happy to tell you that the former chief, Kajihiro, and I are kind of cut from the same cloth in the community involvement stuff. That's what we kind of made a name for ourselves while we were doing in Burien. Born into a family of first responders, son of a fire chief and a pediatric registered nurse. My daughter's now a pediatric registered nurse. Raised my kids in East King County in a community just like this over in Sammamish. Now I get to watch my grandkids kind of doing the same thing. I'm very excited to be here. I know that there's a lot of firsts for me coming. City manager, yeah, you said you were kind of nervous going into the interview. Me too, believe me. But I was delighted at the timing of everything. I wish Steve very, very, very well, but I was afraid of getting kind of typecast into Burien, and I was ready for a different challenge. And at this level of leadership, I promise you're going to bring me the challenge, and I'm going to answer it. My contact information is online. My business cards are on order, but I look forward to meeting all of you and seeing a handful of you, I hope, at next Tuesday's ceremony out in the parking lot. I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Anything else, City Manager? Okay. Okay, next up is our consent agenda. Any desired changes to tonight's consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, show the consent agenda approved as written. Okay, next up, we have two public hearings tonight regarding the budget, excuse me. Okay, the first public hearing. So gavel in at 7:22. We're going to receive comments tonight on the 2026 revenue sources. Members of the council, this is a public hearing. This evening we have Finance Director Chambers, I believe she's online, to give us a short overview. At the conclusion of that overview, she will be available for questions or comments. Then we will take public testimony. And after that, the public, if you want to sign up to make a testimony, please sign up on the sheet over on the dais over there. There's a sheet for the first public comment on revenue sources. Okay, I believe, is this Lindsay Chambers going to give us the overview? Okay. Director Chambers, welcome. Please give us an overview.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I appreciate you allowing me to zoom in for tonight's meeting. So the agenda bill before us for the public hearing on revenue sources has some information on our current property tax numbers as of October 23rd. That's the most recent update we have from King County. Right now we are considering with the amount from 2025 being banked, the total levy available would be $6,663,826. And this is a slight increase over last year's rate, including the 1% allowable limit factor, the new construction, and then we have a small portion for refunds and corrections. The levy rate at this dollar amount would be $1.04, which is a decrease of 5 cents from last year. On page 2 of the agenda bill, it goes into the calculation of the levy amount and the levy rate. So the information on page 2 is the absolute maximum. So this also includes the $62,872 that we have in banked capacity from 2025, as well as the increase for 2026, the new construction, and the refunds. So if you chose to levy this maximum amount of $6,726,698, the levy rate at that would be $1.05. So just slightly more than what's on page 1. So those are the numbers that we have presented. The council can choose to levy any dollar amount up to that maximum of $6,726,698. Or they can choose a number below that as we've presented. So at this time, I'll turn it over to any questions or comments.
Okay, are there council members who have questions for Director Chambers? So just to be clear, the money in the bank is included. It's not staying in the bank, correct?
The amount that we banked for 2025 is not included in the number on page 1. Just in the maximum allowable levy of 6.7 million includes that amount.
Understand. Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the Director Chambers? Okay. All right, at this point, City Clerk, are there anybody signed up for public testimony? No? Okay. Anybody online for this? Okay. All right. So, any final member comments from the council? Okay. Public hearing is closed. That was easy, 4 minutes. 7:26. Okay, so we will come back to this under general business item 11.1 to discuss. Okay. Next up is our second public hearing on the preliminary 2026 budget. Public hearing is opened at 7:26. Okay, once again, this is a public hearing. Director Chambers will give us a short overview. At the conclusion of the overview, she will be available for questions or comments. So, Director Chambers, you're up again. Go ahead and give us an overview on second public comment.
Yes. So the agenda bill before us has some totals on it. The only change that we currently have made from the preliminary budget is the increase in property tax, and that is for the new construction amount. And it's a different number, as you'll see, because we had an estimate in the preliminary, and now that we have the actual numbers from King County, this would be the change from the preliminary budget that was presented. This would also increase general fund revenue and then ending fund balances for the general fund from 88,000 to 151,000. The totals for the budget as presented currently, beginning fund balances are just under 19 million. We have 25,405,000 in revenues, and this is including the property tax number from the first page of the property tax agenda bill. So that would be not including the banked amount for 2025, but yes to including the banked amount for 2026. And then expenditures are 27,593,000. Ending fund balances are 16,809,000. And then the total budget, meaning the beginning fund balances and revenues, and then the expenditures and the ending fund balance match on either side at $44,403,234. So with that, those are the totals for what we have presented and any changes that have been made since the preliminary. There's also additional information in the city manager memo that City Manager Pinkel can answer to, and we'll take any comments or questions at this time.
Any questions for Director Chambers on this subject? Okay, City Clerk, do we have anybody signed up for the second public hearing? No, okay. Okay, any final comments, council members? Okay, seeing none, second public hearing is closed, 7:29. Okay, I bet that's a record. Thank you, Director Chambers, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to, we have no unfinished business. Now we're moving on to general business, item 11.1, approval of ordinance, the property tax levy rate. So I'll open the floor to questions, discussions, or motions.
Mayor, can I just clarify?
Please, City Manager. or-
Just, so what is proposed
Correct.
is that the banked amount stays banked, but the preliminary budget and then the ordinance for the property tax includes 1% for 2026. When showing the numbers from King County, we show that maximum amount just because it is how we show the math. And so I don't want that to be confusing between so the number that's in the fiscal impact, the 6.6 million, is what is proposed. Where then when we're showing the math that we get from King County, they include everything, and that's that 6.7 billion number. And that would be everything, current year's banked amount and taking the 1%. But what's proposed in the preliminary budget is leaving the banked amount, but taking the 1% for 26. So I just want to make sure that that's clear and not confusing for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Sherlock, go ahead,
Can I make a motion?
please.
I move adoption of ordinance 2025-677, setting the ad valorem tax levy for the 2026 fiscal year as presented.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2025-677, setting the ad valorem tax levy rate for the 2026 fiscal year as presented. Councilmember Quigg,
Can I make an amendment to the motion?
you may.
Aaron, would you be able to put it on the screen, the motion? If it might not be necessary, I'd like to amend the motion to remove the 1% increase for 2026.
Here,
Do I need to read it whole?
please.
Okay, I move adoption of ordinance 2025-677, setting the ad valorem tax levy for 2026 fiscal year as presented minus the 1% tax increase, property tax increase.
Second.
Okay, we have an amendment to the original motion to adopt ordinance 2025-677, setting the ad valorem tax levy rate for 2026 as presented minus the 1% increase.
So we want to make clear that ad valorem then would be 0 rather than 1%.
Correct. Yeah, if I didn't say that correct, sorry. But you understand what I'm
The
saying?
city attorney said it in my ear so that we could put it correctly on the record.
Understand, okay. Okay, so Councilmember Quigg, do you want to speak to your amendment?
I don't think we need the property tax increase.
Council Deputy Mayor?
I think we can bank it or not have it this year because I think we have enough on the budget so we can give some relief this year.
Okay, motion on the floor. Any other discussion? Okay, motion on the floor is to adopt ordinance 2025-677, setting the ad valorem tax levy rate for 2026 fiscal year as presented, minus the 1% increase. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, amendment passes 4-3. Back to the original, help me out here, city manager. We still have to do the original motion,
Yeah.
correct?
It's
Thank you.
it's just now amended.
I think I'd know that by now, yeah. Okay, the original motion was to adopt ordinance 2025-677, setting the ad valorem tax levy rate for 2026 fiscal year as presented,
And now it's as amended
as amended.
rather than as presented.
Gotcha, as amended. So, yes, all in favor of the motion as amended, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes 4-3, as amended. Okay. All right, thank you, everybody. Moving on. Okay. We're now on item 11.2, approval of ordinance to adopt the 2026 budget. Okay. Anybody?
I have a motion, but I don't know if this is in the form of a motion as much as it is a question, Mr. Mayor. Forgive me
What's your
for my
question?
rookie questions. Is this the part where we would be approving the 3% additional salary increase, the conversion of the full-time, of the part-time event coordinator to the full-time coordinator, and of the GPS system for the snowplow? Is
So-
that part of this?
The motion that is in your package adopts the budget as was presented in the package. If you desire to make any changes, you need to make a motion with, make a different motion.
Director Fitzgibbons, is it on the screen?
The motion is on the screen.
So then I move to adopt ordinance 2025-678 as presented, adopting the City of Newcastle 2026 budget in its final form and content for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026, minus the monies for the GPS snowplow system, the conversion of the event coordinator from part-time to full-time, and the additional 3% salary increase on top of the COLA.
So the 3% is not something that the council has control over.
Yeah, so the staff 3% is based on performance and determined by the city manager. So that is not something we work on. So we don't have control over, that was because we adopted a new personnel policy last year.
Did you study it at all? Councilmember Quigg, did you study it?
Hold on, Councilmember Burford, don't do that. So you want to restate your motion, or what is, so you have a motion and you have a couple things. What, is there any,
Well, then can I just stick with the two original ones that I said? So as presented, minus the conversion of the part-time coordinator to the full-time coordinator, were we allowed to do that? And minus the additional dollars for that GPS
Right.
system.
You can, right, so the position is controlled by the salary schedule that is included in the budget ordinance. So if you want to change the position to not go to full-time, you have to change the salary schedule to not, for that to stay at 0.8 rather than 1 FTE.
That's what I'd like to do.
And then if you want to, it would be better if we had, we need to look at the street fund and take away the $6,000 of expenditure from that line and amend it that way, if that's the other one.
so, okay, so what I suggest is that we have a motion to take away, and city manager, help me out, take away the GPS or 6,000, we need to specify the dollar number? Is it?
So the way that I think it's probably fine if we specify $6,000, and Director Chambers can jump in if she doesn't like that approach, but where it's a flat amount, that's easy. But we need to then be clear that that's what we're amending the budget ordinance to say. So from the street fund, we're lowering expenditures by $6,000. And then with the position adjustment, I think that the council should vote on a position adjustment to amend the events and recreation coordinator position from 1 FTE to 0.8. Right, but what's proposed is the adjusted position, not what it was. And so in order to change it back to what it was, you need to change the salary schedule that's proposed.
Okay, so then what would be more helpful is to have a motion based on the salary schedule, if that's what you desire to do.
That's exactly what I desire to do. So as I said at the very beginning of this attempt to propose an amendment, let me know how to say it properly.
So I would encourage the council to take 2 votes.
Yes, we will.
So vote on removing the $6,000 for the snow response equipment, and then separately make a motion to amend the salary schedule for the events and rec coordinator position to be 0.8 FTEs.
I move that we amend the salary schedule for the events coordinator to remain at 0.8, not full-time FTE.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend the salary schedule to return the events and recreation coordinator to 0.8 FTE. Any discussions or Councilmember Quigg, speak to your motion?
I think 0.8 FTE is sufficient.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I think that's the right approach.
Councilmember Charbonneau, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a position that's already been consolidated. We used to have it used to be more FTEs, and between having a separate events person and a communications person, I think I think it can be, for me, it's frustrating to, actively sit up here, praise our city manager, and then also micromanage personnel decisions like this. I don't think that's our place. Additionally, I think folks, the feedback we've gotten on the staff member in this position has been glowing and continued to be glowing. And I feel frustrated for that staff member. And, you know, I think, again, it's frustrating to praise the communications from the city, the event structure of the city, and then try to undercut that work. So I think this is how you lose good people. I think this is how you lose good staff members. Not willing to pay them what they're worth on the open market, they'll go other places, and I think this is a bad practice. I'm hopeful it's not what we'll see in the future.
Councilmember Burford, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I think this is Amy George's position. And Amy George has been working tirelessly, wholeheartedly for our city. And the community engagement matters. I want to say 3 times. Community engagement matters, matters, matters. You think about $6,000 for our city. And think about how many people we're going to reach out. We're going to attract and gather, bring people together. So this is micromanagement, I agree. So really, really need to be careful how we treat our city staff with respect. And they are professionals with dedication and care for our city, for our community. And I have witnessed Amy George's dedication and remarkable work. And everybody, think about our Newcastle events. It takes time and planning. And also, I think this would really, really hurt our city staff's feeling. Really need to think about it. We have our community, so they don't. I would urge our council reconsider this amendment.
Councilmember
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not in favor of this amendment. We just heard how well our communications person did during this recent power outage. She took extra time during the weekend to make sure that communications were put out to our community. And I was very pleased when this was put forward months ago. The idea of changing that position from 0.8 FTE to a 1.0. And so I continue to support that, and I don't support this amendment.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I just want to add, this is very frustrating that, when we are talking about FTE adjustment, it is being misconstrued as disrespect for their staff. Well, this was already a part-time position. So there is no disrespect here. We are always thankful to our staff. We are just saying that we do not want to make the change this year. That is all that we're saying. And the reason we're doing that is we are incorporating more and more AI, artificial intelligence, into our workspace. What did happen last week? I think at this point, we all should be grateful that as a city, we are not doing any layoffs here. Amazon is going to lay off 30,000 people. 14,000 people have already been laid off, and they were notified by text messages. So all we're saying is to keep our city sustainable and to sustain all these positions that we have today, we want to just keep it as is. We don't want to make any more changes. We do not want to increase any cost. So please don't misconstrue it as that we are disrespectful to the staff. I don't know how this shows that we are disrespectful. We just want to incorporate more AI, and as we incorporate more AI, we will bring about a lot of efficiencies. And that's why we want to try it out, that maybe we do not need a full-time position at this point. To keep the part-time position for a longer period, that's the reason we are making this change. Otherwise, after a few years, you might not even have this part-time position. Would you rather have a part-time, or would you convert this into a full-time just for a short period of time? Thank you.
Councilmember Burford.
Talking about the AI, we can't underestimate the true, genuine human interaction. AI is everywhere. It will replace a lot of people's jobs. That's your prediction. That's a lot of people's prediction. But we do also need to recognize and value the true, genuine human interaction that Amy George has really, really brought in to our city, to our community. Because since already proposed, this means you want to amend. So that's attitude and micromanagement clearly shows that's disrespectful. And I do not support this amendment.
Okay. Yeah, I don't agree with the micromanagement. I mean, this is our job, is to watch the costs for the people, because somebody has to do that. And I'm not saying that the staff doesn't do that. The city manager and the staff have done a good job of cutting costs, but there are other things that, you know, that we engage with the public about, that they want to have more answers. They want more, you know, accountability. So micromanagement is a terrible word. You know, it's disappointing. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to amend the salary schedule to return the events and recreation coordinator back to 0.8 FTE. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, motion passes 4-3. Okay, that concludes that item. Yes.
City Manager Pingo, can you please help me with my next request around the GPS system and the thousands for that?
Yeah,
What
so
do you
I
want me
would
say
move
for
to
that, sir?
reduce the street fund expenditures by $6,000. Move to reduce street fund expenditures by $6,000.
I move to reduce the street fund expenditures by $6,000.
Second.
Would you like to speak to your motion?
I think there's more efficient ways to handle this GPS system. I've heard that from residents. They say, why does this cost so much money? And I've seen the replies. I've seen the answers in writing. I'm not satisfied. I think there's more efficient ways to do this. I think that we're asking people for more and more tax dollars. Things are more and more expensive, and I don't think it's worth putting the burden on them when I think there's a more efficient way for us to do it here.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I think city manager himself told us that it's not a must-have. I mean, it was,
No, we put this in response to a community concern.
but I think there could be, as Councilmember Quigg mentioned, there could be other ways of doing it. I mean, I think we need to explore it more. So 6,000 is a big chunk of money, so, yeah.
Councilmember Charbonneau?
Thank you. Yeah, I had a question, actually. So, City Manager Pingle, I believe, can you help me understand again exactly what this GPS system does? I know we currently have the, I'll butcher the name of it, but we have the snowplow priority map for residents that they can reference when snow falls and they're, okay, when is my road going to be plowed? This gives them like real-time updates, or is that the main benefit?
The main benefit of this to the community would be that it would give the community a place to go see where plowing is at and what plowing has been done. We can't provide that to the community in any kind of real time currently, and we wouldn't plan to without something to help us do that. Because it's all hands on deck when we have a snow response. It's 24/7, all hands on deck.
Is it just is it just fully monitoring? Like, there's no element of it where folks like report, like, oh, could you come plow here?
Not necessarily. At least that wasn't the point of it. It was so that we could provide a real-time update to the community. As far as staff is concerned, it provides benefits to our staff as far as being able to we'll be able to track how much and where material was put down, and and gives us, we're able to monitor, speed, all of the things that you want to be able to see in real time. But like we said, it's not a have to have. We're hoping to be able to, at a town hall meeting, this came up as a concern as far as why can't, we can't, when people call, we can't get on the horn with somebody in a truck plowing to say, where are you at? That just doesn't happen. We have too small a staff. And so this would give us an option. That's all it was.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Sherlock.
Thank you. This sounds like the kind of AI tool that we should be putting in place to help our residents know what's going on. It sounds like staff, actual humans, in this case, don't have time to relay that information because they're dealing with the actual snow and ice. So I'm very confused on these motions, but I do not support this amendment.
Councilmember Griffin, go ahead.
Don't we have some kind of a system that whenever it snows, that we go plow certain areas first?
We just have a priority. We have a priority system.
Well, but you take care of the main streets first probably, and then
Right.
the secondaries as, and you just work your way till you get everything cleaned up.
That's right.
So if you got a schedule that you're going to go through, would you need something to have on each of the vehicles to tell you, okay, where are you now, when you're gonna go over to the other place, or we've got somebody over here, Mrs. Jones wants her street cleaned up.
But nobody is sitting there ready to talk to the public to say, hey, this is where they're at. The benefit of the tool is that the public could go and see it for themselves.
Is this gonna change your way of systematically, well, so we're back where we were, just a different thing with more equipment.
So, like we've said, it's a tool. We were trying to be responsive to a concern that we heard at a town hall meeting.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to reduce the street fund by $6,000. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes 4-3. You have a question? Go ahead.
So the thing I mentioned earlier, City Manager Pingle, around, help me understand, as I said at the beginning, help me understand. Is our total salary increase, bump in pay for the staff 5.7% in total?
No.
It's not. What is it in total?
It's probably, I don't have that number.
Tell me where I'm wrong. My layman's understanding was it's a 2.7% COLA.
So the total budget, there's a possible 3% step increase for eligible staff, but we have 5 staff that are maxed out. This only applies to non-represented staff, and so you can't take anything away from our unionized staff.
Fantastic. I guess
part of their CBA.
I will ask very simple questions then. Is it a 2.5% COLA plus a potential 3%? Is that what it is?
That's what's in the
Thank you. Okay, so it's 2.7% for sure COLA plus potentially 3.7% distributed based on whether or not they're maxed out or not, correct? Because there's a 3.7, but some people have maxed out so they can't get a raise, right?
Right.
Okay, correct. So potentially if somebody can get a 2.7% COLA plus their step increase, then they could potentially get a 5.7%. Thank you.
right.
Okay.
But that doesn't apply to everybody.
That doesn't apply to
And
everybody.
that doesn't
but I'm-
apply to the budget total, because the budget total is much, much less than that as far as total salary increases, because we have a vacant public works director position, and that person won't be paid what the last one was paid.
I totally understand that. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, because not many people in Newcastle have gotten 5.7% annual increases. And I know that's not what we're proposing. I know it's more nuanced than that. I'm simply asking if it's a guaranteed 2.5% COLA, cost of living adjustment for everybody, plus additional raises based on whether they're maxed out or not. I'm wondering what input does our council have on the staffing increases, if any?
Zero.
Zero, well, then, there you go. Okay, so it was in the budget, but it's locked in essentially. It's a 2.7% COLA.
Yeah, the
plus
council
3%.
already passed it.
Got it. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Thank you. And honestly, as I said at the beginning, this is my first time here doing this, and I just wanted to ask about that. So thank you for educating me.
Do I have any other changes or desired changes or motions about the budget? Anything? Okay, city manager question then. We have two changes based on our motions, recent motions. Is that something that we can consolidate into tonight and pass a budget, or is it
So
we need to wait?
I think that if the council desires, I think you can make a motion to adopt the budget as amended.
As amended. Okay, Councilmember Sherlock?
Mayor, if you like, I've been tracking the changes and I can give you the updated budget numbers as well.
I'm sorry, Director Chambers, I didn't hear that.
She can give you the updated numbers with what we've amended.
Yes, I've been
Because
tracking the changes. So we have the agenda bill for the ordinance adoption, and I can give you the amended numbers for what that would be.
Okay. Would you like to do that first then? Yes.
Yes, I can do that to read it into the record. So with the changes that were voted in, so what I'm counting is the reduction in property tax revenue in general fund, and the $6,000 change in expenditures for the street fund. So the amended budget totals would be beginning fund balances would have no change. They would continue at $18,997,475. The total revenue would be reduced to $25,340,395. The expenditure total would reduce to $27,587,714. And then the ending fund balance would increase for the street fund change to $16,750,156. And then our total budget would become $44,337,870.
Okay, thank you, Director Chambers. Any questions for Director Chambers? Go ahead, Councilmember Sherlock.
I move it to adopt ordinance 2025-678 as amended, adopting the City of Newcastle 2026 budget in its final form and content for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026.
Would this include the amendments we just passed?
Yes, it should.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Excuse me, folks, hold on a second. There we go. It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2025-678 as presented, as amended, and as presented, adopting the City of Newcastle 2026 budgets in its final form and content for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026. Any comments?
I just want to say for the record, I voted no on the amendments, but I do feel like it is my duty as a council member to adopt a budget for 2026. So that's why I'm making this motion, and I'm in favor of it.
Councilmember Quigg, did you second that? Who seconded it? I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you have any comments?
No comment.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to move to adopt ordinance 2025-678 as amended and presented, adopting the City of Newcastle 2026 budget in its final form and content for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're concluded with general business. We are on to additional public comment. Do we have anybody signed up, City Clerk? Anybody online? Nope. Okay, public comment is closed. Planning calendar, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So I want to look at the kind of the next two meetings and beyond. The 18th meeting is fairly straightforward. Well, we should be prepared with a first reading for the Forged Fiber franchise. So we're excited to get that going. A couple of consent items. One would be awarding a contract for the swim comp plan update, as well as approving an ILA for aerial photography. And so I'll provide the council with a little more details about that as we get into the next couple of Friday updates. Essentially, that's how we get our maps. That's the aerial photography for our maps. The main reason it's coming to the council at this point is because it's in an ILA form, and that has to be adopted by the council, even though the cost is really low. And so we planned on throwing that on consent, and if there's concerns about that as I provide you some details, please let me know. And then we'll bring you a swim fee adjustment as well. For the meeting on the 2nd, we hope to have United Hub ready to talk to the council about EV charging stations at League-Bourne Park, and then potentially also adding some here at City Hall. It's kind of a big if. It's kind of our first time working with a non-governmental organization who wants to give us stuff. And so I'd like to get that done before we kind of break for the year. But if that can't happen, it'll be in January. But hope to have him in front of you for the meeting on the 2nd. We'll also talk about legislative priorities at that meeting. We'd love to do that on the 18th, but I won't have a lobbyist on the 18th. And so I'll make sure that the draft legislative priorities are in front of you well ahead of that time, so that even if we need to adopt as amended on the 2nd, we can do so. And then we'll have the second reading and adoption of the Forge Fiber franchise. We'll have the contract for street sweeping to put in front of you, as well as potentially the capital facilities plan update, and that's kind of an outgrowth of the comp plan as well. So the main thing that I'd love feedback from the council on, though, is the December 16th meeting. So generally we would cancel that meeting, but we need to keep it so that we can award the generators project. We can do that on the 16th and just leave the meeting alone, but we can also have that meeting whenever you want. We can cancel the 16th and then have a meeting some other time if we still want to make sure the council generally breaks for most of December. You can still do that, and we can have that meeting on some other date. Just for some context, in my previous city, their meetings were the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays. And so that 4th Tuesday always fell between Christmas and New Year's. And there, they didn't have a finance committee with some kind of fiduciary power like we do here. And so they didn't send out voucher checks until after they approved them in a council meeting. So they had to hold that meeting that in between Christmas and New Year's, but they would always just pick a date that worked for 4 or 5 of them because it was a non-controversial meeting. All they were doing was approving the vouchers and going home. And so I just provide that context because we can have a meeting where we agree that all we're going to do is award the generators and go home.
So we're talking about the generators and the contract to purchase and or install the generators, correct?
Yeah.
And the reason that's not ready is because we're waiting on the engineering design, correct?
Right.
So I guess my question would be I don't know if the generators are going to cost $1,000. Or they're going to cost way more than that, I get that, but I'm just saying, let's just say $100. And we could have a not to exceed contract approval, like, for $120, knowing it's, there's going to be underneath that. Am I wrong? I'm just trying to figure out a way to avoid an extra meeting. Not that I'm not opposed to having a meeting,
you're
I'm
not
just
wrong.
wondering, is that not a possibility?
We've done that, but, and maybe that was just a specific community member that didn't like that, but we tend to get negative comments when we do not to exceed.
So somebody's going to get upset
that's something we can do.
because we could do a not to exceed approval with the understanding it's not like, unless I'm wrong, it's not like the engineer's going to hear the meeting and say, I'm going to design it for the full amount of the council not to exceed limit. Is that the concern?
We would use the engineer's estimate and then add a contingency.
Yeah, it feels like that's a more efficient use of, how much time is it going to be to put together a meeting with all the staff and everybody just for one generator contract versus?
Actually, if the council likes that option, I'll throw that at Carrie and see if we can make that happen. I didn't think about that.
Any objections to that?
And then we
Okay,
can throw
have
it
a
on the
plan
2nd.
B.
Okay.
So you'll let us know at the
We'll do it
next
that way.
meeting, probably.
If for some reason we think that can't happen, we'll make the adjustment at the next meeting.
Okay, excellent. What else do you have, city manager? Any questions for the city manager? Okay, seeing none, meeting is adjourned.